Everyone has a photographic memory. Some just don't have film. I washed a sock. Then I put it in the dryer. When I took it out, it was gone. Everywhere is walking distance, if you have the time. Hello, and welcome to Under the Cult of MS. Those were some quotes by Steven Wright, one of the greatest comedians ever. And this is a new segment called I Read a Book Without Pictures. Can you believe that? I actually read a book that doesn't have pictures in it. One of the few books I've read in my life fully without pictures just happened to be Harold by Steven Wright. Let's see what they have in here for a beginning synopsis. This just came out, I want to say a couple weeks ago. A uniquely humorous and deeply profound novel from a legendary stand-up comedian that follows the thoughts of a 1960s third grader during a single day at school. Steven Wright is one of the most significant and influential stand-up comedians in history. Rolling Stone ranked him number 15 on their 50 best stand-up comics of all time. Number 15, I'd say he'd be in the top 5, probably. If you have to go that far down the line for him, he'd be up there with Richard Pryor, Gilbert Gottfried, Norm Macdonald. My brain's just not letting me. But yeah, he is one of the greats. Eddie Murphy would be up there. While the New York Times has written of his endearing legacy, if you made a family tree of modern stand-up, he would top one of the few major and expanding branches. The children of Mr. Wright pack the comedy scene today. Now comes his first novel, which is sure to be unlike anything you've ever read. From the outside, Harold is an average third grader growing up in the 1960s. Bored by school, like we all were, crushing on a girl, likes movies and baseball, especially the hometown Boston Red Sox. Enjoys spending time with his grandfather, but inside Harold's mind, things are a lot more complex, unusual. His thoughts come to him as birds flying through a small rectangle in the middle of his brain. He visits an outdoor cafe on the moon and is invited aboard a spaceship by famed astronomer Carl Sagan. He envisions his own funeral procession and wonders if the driver of the hearse has even been born yet. Harold documents the meandering, surreal, often hilarious, and always thought-provoking stream of consciousness, ruminations of the title character during a single day in class, saturated with the witticisms and profundities for which Wright's groundbreaking stand-up has long been venerated. This novel will change the way you perceive your daily existence. To quote one of its many memorable lines, everything doesn't have to make sense. Just look at the world and your life. None of it makes sense. This is a wonderful book. Simple, quick read, double-spaced, lines. And basically, yeah, it's you're seeing things, a day in the life of a 7-year-old whose mind's full of thousands of birds, and he's got this little window that every now and then a bird just goes flying through the window with a certain thought that's connected with each bird that goes flying through the window. And sometimes those thoughts are coming from a caffeine-fueled mind of a 7-year-old. He definitely loves his coffee. And the effects that he gets from it. He's got his little crushes that he takes on his adventures with him through his thoughts, his daydream thoughts, and all that. His dream process. It's just, it makes you look at the world in a different way. It makes you think about things that you possibly wouldn't have thought about before. And Steven Wright, he was a comedian that just blew the mind of a child who's seen him for the first time. In me, when I seen him for the first time, I was mesmerized how he just took certain thoughts and gave them more meaning than what I would have come up with, and just expanded that meaning into his own comedic routine. And I was just amazed when I seen him for the first time. Wanted to follow in his footsteps as far as train of thought and his whole thought process. And I kind of looked at the world from that point on in a different way when I seen him do stand up for the first time. Now, I was just not long ago wondering where Steven has been. And it's like, I haven't heard anything of him in a while. And all of a sudden he popped up on a couple of my podcasts. And I'm like, hey, cool, Steven Wright's back. Uh, See what he's been up to. And here he's been working on this book for like 7 years. And a lot of things that connect with seven. It said he's been working on the book for 7+ years. The kid's a 7-year-old kid. It's like, yeah, there's just some types of connections throughout everything in this weird and strange world we live in. Since I've read the book, I had a doctor's appointment last week, and I'm sitting there, and a chickadee just kept flying along this huge picture window in the waiting room of the doctor's office, and I could just imagine this chickadee just kept coming back and going across the window, like wondering why the humans or these beings that walk on two legs, why they stay inside the building, looking out at the world in enjoyment and pleasure, seeing what they see, but yet not going out and enjoying it themselves. This doesn't make sense, and keeping the critters from enjoying coming inside. It's like the humans don't want to go outside. They don't want to let the critters inside. So you can just imagine what the bird was thinking when he was staring at us through the window, fluttering around outside it, trying to find a way into the room itself. And then a couple days later, I was driving down a road, and out in a farmer's field, I seen 4 vultures just hopping around, pecking at fertilizer scraps that are all over a farmer's field. And there's a dead animal on the side of the road not far from them that I'm sure they were pecking at. And I can just imagine that they're thinking that if man is some type of a god that has too much stuff to himself and just drops the food, leaving scraps for the rest of the critters, is he doing that while thinking of the other critters and making sure that they have enough to fill their bellies? Is it a god type character that is actually willing to share their wealth? Or is it an accident? if there was a God. You'll understand those things a little bit more if you read the book yourself. But yeah, it's just, I love this book. It was just, I'm very happy I picked it up. Uh, I got it off Amazon and I ended up being, I don't even know, like $6 less than what I thought I was paying for it. So that was interesting. And so if you're looking for where to pick it up, I'd suggest checking out there or wherever you buy your books. Let's look at a few more quotes from Steven Wright. I just love that I found this page. And it's like, if at first you don't succeed, then skydiving definitely isn't for you. I just got out of the hospital. I was in a speed reading accident. I hit a bookmark. Some friends of mine got me a sweater for my birthday. I'd have preferred a moaner or a screamer, but the sweater was okay. I used to have an open mind, but my brains kept falling out. It was the first time I was ever in love, and I learned a lot. Before that, I'd never even thought about killing myself. Just a few more, I can't help it. Half the people you know are below average. I put instant coffee in a microwave oven and almost went back in time. I planted some bird seed. A bird came up. Now I don't know what to feed it. The early bird gets the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese. Get it? The first one gets caught in the trap. The second one gets the... Oh, Steven, you're so wonderful. And just little quotes that can just make you so happy by hearing them. Whenever I think of the past, it brings back so many memories. Ambition is a poor excuse for not having enough sense to be lazy. Smoking cures weight problems, eventually. Yeah. I play the harmonica. The only way I can play is if I get my car going really fast and stick it out the window. If you must choose between two evils, pick the one you've never tried before. I was reading the dictionary. I thought it was a poem about everything. Okay, so what's the speed of dark? I'm moving to Mars next week. So if you have any boxes, see, I'd kill for a Nobel Peace Prize. When I was in school, the teachers told me practice makes perfect. Then they told me nobody's perfect. So I stopped practicing. I could go on and on. This thing has like hundreds of Steven Wright's quotes, and I don't want to give all his stuff away. You should actually go back and check out some of his stand up. It's just incredibly wonderful. But I read a book without pictures, and I am very happy I did. It's made me want to read a couple more books without pictures. So I may have more of these segments in the near future. But for now, he smiled, thinking the world was such a fascinating, interesting place. And all he or anyone had to do to enjoy it was to be awake. Just wake up and look at the world in a whole new light. And this is a great way to open your mind enough to do that. So check out Harold from Steven Wright, out now at all your favorite bookstores and online or wherever you get your books. I am very happy I read it. And I am encouraged to look at life in a different way. and possibly read a few more books without pictures. But until then, you can still check out all my comic book reviews and stuff like that on Under the Color of MS. You can check out my unpacking videos. You can check out my MS videos, my dementia video, caretaker videos. I got all kinds of things out there. Art postings on my Instagram. That's under the Cull of MS with underscore between each word. And just look at under the Cull of MS, at symbol under the Cull of MS in your search engine, and most of the things will come up: the YouTube, the podcast, the Instagram, all that good stuff. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to another good book here in the future. I know I got a Mankind book sitting somewhere I've yet to read. Bought it many, many years ago. I got a Tim Kennedy book that I started reading but haven't finished yet. I'd like to get through that. But yeah, we got some more books that we will read and talk about in the future. So watch for more videos, and we'll get back to you again soon. Take care, and just look at life in a unique and different way, and just see what kind of thoughts you can come up with. Talk to you again. Bye.